Despite the many colossal creatures that roam the land, the ocean remains home to the most gigantic animals on Earth. While dinosaurs once ruled as the largest reptiles in history, even they pale in comparison to some of the massive beings lurking beneath the waves. From ancient leviathans to present-day giants, here are the 15 most enormous sea creatures you've ever seen. Number 15. Sperm whales. Alright, for our first entry, let's dive deep beneath the ocean waves and turn our attention toward one of the most underappreciated marine mammals of all time, the sperm whale. Sure, while the blue whale takes the top spot as the largest animal in existence, the often sidelined sperm whale is a truly astonishing creature in its own right. With males measuring in at an average of 52 feet in length and weighing an eye-watering 80 short tons, they are easily one of the more colossal creatures that have ever lived, with some extraordinary individuals reaching up to 68 feet in length, nipping hot at the heels of the blue whale. Because of its truly astonishing size, the sperm whale is also amongst the deepest diving mammals on the planet, easily plunging up to 7,500 feet below the surface. Incredibly, the sperm whale dives far deeper than the blue whale and is only exceeded by the southern elephant seal and the incredibly rare Cuvier's beaked whale. As the deepest diving animals on the planet, like many other members of its species, the sperm whale often lives more than 70 years, living extraordinarily long lives while venturing to the deepest depths of the ocean. The sperm whale earned its intriguing name during the heyday of the commercial whaling industry from the end of the 18th century through to the 19th century, owing to the enormous fluid-filled organ on its distinctly bulbous head. Number 14. The sea star. While you may think of starfish as being pretty tiny creatures compared to some of the monsters on this list, surprisingly, one member of the sea star family is actually one of the largest star-shaped invertebrates ever recorded. Take a look at the largest starfish on Earth, the sunflower star, a record-breaking aquatic creature that measures in at a staggering 40 inches from arm tip to arm tip and weighs over 11 pounds in total. Aside from its truly astonishing size compared to other starfish, of which there are over 1,500 different species, the sunflower star also has the most number of arms too. Incredibly, adults have up to 24 arms in total, all of which are symmetrically arranged in a perfect symmetrical pattern. Like all other sea stars, sunflower sea stars are benthic, meaning they're bottom-dwelling creatures living on the seabed in the coastal areas of the Pacific Ocean. While all known sea stars live pretty close to the coast, there are some speculated to live deep in the Mariana Trench, though none have ever been found. Number 13. Whale shark. Sure, while whales are the largest creatures in the ocean, gigantic predatory sharks are also a hot contender for the title. But what's better than a whale and a shark? Yeah, you guessed it, a whale shark. Incredibly, the whale shark is actually the largest known species of fish on the planet, with the largest confirmed individual having a recorded length of a little over 62 feet. That is huge. Often found in the open waters of the tropical oceans, mainly the Pacific and the Indian, the whale shark is the breaker of many records in the animal kingdom, most notably for being the largest living non-mammalian vertebrate on the planet. However, despite its colossal size, the whale shark is actually a pretty friendly ocean creature, feeding primarily on plankton and small fish and posing zero threat to humans. Like many species of plankton feeders, whale sharks have incredibly large mouths that they use to filter through the detritus and floating organic material of the ocean, essentially gliding through the waves and collecting its food like a giant floating vacuum. Heck, that's one way to do it. Although an ancient species, the whale shark was first distinguished in 1828 after a huge specimen was caught in Table Bay, South Africa, and initially mistaken for a gigantic whale. Number 12. Giant Pacific octopus. Alright, on the topic of giant marine creatures, take a look at this breaky monster. Okay, maybe it's not quite as large as the giant squid, but considering the fact that this astonishing creature can contort itself into all different kinds of shapes and sizes, the sheer magnitude of the giant Pacific octopus earns itself a place on this list. As its name may suggest, the giant Pacific octopus is considered to be the largest octopus species on the planet. Native to the northern Pacific Ocean, including the western coast of the United States, Alaska, and Japan, these amazing creatures can often measure up to 30 feet in length, with the largest individual ever observed weighing an incredible 600 pounds. Considering the fact that this amazing animal has to power 8 arms, 3 hearts, and 9 brains, it's no wonder that it's evolved enough space to power its awe-inspiring biological machinery. The thing is, as is the case with the giant squid and other tentacled monsters, we're not entirely sure if there are larger giant Pacific octopuses to be found deeper down in the abyss, perhaps even twice the size of the largest verified specimen. The ocean is an endless expanse, and it's difficult to determine some of its more terrifying monsters. Number 11. Giant squid. When it comes to deep, dark, and monstrous things, few things are as terrifying as a gigantic tentacled kraken. How big do you think the largest giant squid is? It's a pretty terrifying thought, but the truth is, the extent of our oceans and the creatures that live beneath them are nowhere near close to being fully mapped. In fact, we know more about the moon than we do about the deepest parts of the ocean, and it's entirely possible that a record-beating gigantic giant squid is still yet to be discovered. Some experts believe that if such colossal squids exist, they may reside in the Hadal Zone, depths so extreme that human technology can barely reach them. These creatures would need to be biologically adapted to crushing pressure, zero light, and extreme temperatures. Their massive eyes, each the size of a basketball, are thought to help them detect faint glimmers of bioluminescence from potential prey. Some deep-sea fishermen have reported seeing enormous suction cup scars on the bodies of sperm whales, suggesting underwater battles with squids even bigger than anything we've documented. In Japanese folklore, the Akuro Kamui is said to be a squid-like sea monster capable of capsizing ships, possibly inspired by real sightings. The myth of the kraken itself may very well be rooted in early encounters with these elusive giants. Despite sonar and submersibles, capturing one alive remains virtually impossible. Currently on record, the largest giant squid measured by scientists was almost 42 feet in length and may have weighed up to a ton, although it's difficult to determine. However, that doesn't stop many people claiming to have seen far larger specimens of these tentacled monsters. The supposed largest giant squid ever spotted was almost quadruple the currently recorded length, allegedly found by a British sailor just off the coast of the Maldive Islands during the height of World War II. During his night shift, the sailor claimed to have seen up close as the creature floated past their vessel in chilling silence. Reportedly, the creature was far larger than the British naval vessel, which measured over 170 feet. Just let that sink in. Now it's time for today's topic. In March 2025, a Japanese deep-sea research submarine named Shinkai 9000 descended into the Mariana Trench for a routine tectonic plate survey. At 9,000 meters below sea level, the crew's instruments began picking up strange sonar readings, slow-moving, deliberate, and massive. Moments later, a crew member shouted in disbelief as an enormous silhouette emerged from the darkness outside the viewing port. The lights illuminated a creature no one had ever documented, a shark with features unlike any known species. Its body was streamlined like a great white, but its enormous bulk and unusual eye placement suggested an evolutionary path diverging millions of years ago. The shark remained still, seemingly observing the submarine, its expression eerily intelligent. Marine biologists reviewing the footage believe this could be a new species of deep-sea apex predator, possibly related to the prehistoric Megalodon. But its calm behavior and lack of aggression puzzled experts. The video, now under government review, has sparked debates among oceanographers worldwide. Was it a mutation, a relic from a forgotten ecosystem, or something far more ancient? The Shinkai crew surfaced safely, but they returned with a chilling message. There's something down there, something that watches back. Number 10. Blue whales. Okay, while we've given the sperm whale its fair share of the limelight, the truth is this list certainly wouldn't be complete without featuring the largest creature to have ever existed. Seriously, when it comes to giant sea creatures, nothing in history has ever come close to taking this guy from the top spot. For all intents and purposes, the blue whale is the largest creature that's ever lived, period. Measuring in at an average of 98 feet in length, a dark blue whale can easily reach a body mass of over 300,000 pounds. Despite their size, blue whales feed almost exclusively on tiny krill, sometimes consuming up to 4 tons of it per day during feeding season. Their massive mouths can hold approximately 90 metric tons of food and water, but their throats are only about the size of a basketball, meaning they couldn't swallow a human even if they tried. Blue whales use low-frequency vocalizations to communicate, and these calls can travel hundreds of miles underwater. They're also among the loudest animals on Earth, even louder than a jet engine. These titanic creatures can live up to 90 years in the wild, with some reaching over a century. Sadly, despite their size and strength, blue whales were almost hunted to extinction in the 20th century. Conservation efforts have helped their numbers rebound slightly, but they remain endangered to this day. To put that into perspective, their tongues alone can weigh as much as a fully grown elephant, the largest land animal in existence, and the gigantic heart of the blue whale can easily grow as large as a Volkswagen Beetle. Let that sink in. The thing is, when it comes to how mind-boggling the sheer size of a blue whale actually is, think of it this way. Their blood vessels are wide enough for a human being to freely swim through them. So yeah, theoretically speaking, if you were ever unfortunate enough to risk being swallowed whole by a blue whale, you better hope that you're a strong enough swimmer to compete against the blue whale's blood pressure. Yikes. Number 9. Ocean sunfish. While it may not look like it, this next creature is actually the heaviest bony fish on Earth. Meet the magnificently weird mola mola, otherwise known as the ocean sunfish, perhaps the strangest creature that's ever swum throughout the 7 seas. While the average ocean sunfish is around 8 feet long, Several specimens have been observed throughout history that have allegedly grown as large as 14 feet. The heaviest mola mola on record was a female caught back in 1996, weighing in at an astonishing 5,071 pounds. To put that into perspective, that's pretty much the size of a fully grown rhinoceros. Despite their size, mola mola feed primarily on jellyfish, which offer very little nutritional value, meaning they must consume massive quantities daily to survive. Their diet also includes salps, squid, crustaceans, and small fish. They move through the water by flapping their large dorsal and anal fins rather than a tail, giving them a clumsy but oddly graceful swimming style. Interestingly, mola mola can dive up to 2,000 feet in search of food, but often return to the surface to warm up. Their skin is incredibly rough and thick, covered in a layer of mucus that helps protect them from parasites. Because of this, they often attract cleaner fish or even seabirds to help keep their bodies free from hitchhikers. Mainly found throughout the warm and temperate waters off the coast of Australia, New Zealand, Chile, and South Africa, the ocean sunfish gets its name from its odd habit of basking on the ocean's surface, waiting for seabirds to rip parasites off its skin, one of the strangest symbiotic relationships in the ocean. Reportedly, these giant fish are so large that when they collide with boats, the boats often come out worse than the mola mola. Back in 1998, a large haulage vessel off the coast of Sydney, Australia, collided with a 3,000-pound specimen that slowed the ship's cruising speed from 14 to 11 knots, stripping the ship's hull down to the metal. That's like hitting a fully grown elephant in a jeep. Number 8. Orfish. When it comes to gigantic serpentine creatures of the ocean, few creatures can compare to the truly enormous oarfish. Favoring to live in the deep, dark waters of the remote ocean, historically speaking, these creatures have rarely ever been seen on the surface, leading many early humans to believe that they were of a mythical origin. Yeah, you can probably see why. Incredibly, the giant oarfish can grow to an average length of over 50 feet, with the largest giant oarfish ever caught measuring in at 56 feet in length and weighing over a staggering 600 pounds. Their long, ribbon-like bodies shimmer with metallic silver scales, giving them an almost otherworldly glow when spotted near the surface. Unlike most fish, oarfish swim in a vertical position, with their heads pointed upward, making them even more bizarre to witness. Their red, crown-like fins along their heads and backs add to their mythical appearance, almost like something out of ancient sea monster lore. Despite their terrifying size, they are surprisingly harmless, feeding mostly on plankton, small squid, and krill. They lack teeth and use gill rakers to trap their food. Some believe their rare appearances near the surface might signal ecological shifts happening deep below. Officially, the giant oarfish was first described by scientists back in 1772, although there are previous anecdotal records of them being acknowledged as near-mythical creatures, the sea serpents of nautical legend. Although no one is exactly sure why, the giant oarfish has recently been observed purposely trying to beach themselves, with many scientists speculating that their staggering size has allowed them to pick up incoming underwater earthquakes. With an increasingly catastrophic climate, giant oarfish have become a regular sight across remote beaches, fleeing from the devastating tremors of the deep ocean. Kinda sounds like the start of a horror movie, right? Number 7. Colossal Squid. And finally, the truth is this list certainly wouldn't be complete without us mentioning the largest and most terrifying creature on the planet. Sure, while the blue whale and the giant squid have taken the top spots, the mysterious colossal squid may have actually taken both titles. In reality, we know so little about the colossal squid that there's no guessing as to how large these creatures have grown throughout history, given the fact that they lurk throughout their underwater domain in the deepest, darkest trenches of the ocean. In reality, the potential size of the colossal squid can only be guessed. Some scientists believe that these creatures use bioluminescence to attract prey in the pitch-black depths. Their tentacles are lined with swiveling hooks, making them not just terrifying but uniquely equipped for combat. Battle scars found on the heads and bodies of deep-diving whales are believed to be from encounters with these elusive giants. The colossal squid is also thought to be slower and more ambush-driven than its cousin, the giant squid. And given its enormous mantle and mass, it likely relies more on stealth than speed to capture prey. And not only is it considered to be the largest invertebrate in recorded history, but it's also the largest eyes of any animal ever, larger than even those of the great whales. You see, human knowledge of the colossal squid is based on very few specimens. While there have been documented cases of eyes and beaks washing up on shores, few whole examples of the creature have ever been retrieved. Because of that, it's incredibly difficult to characterize the biology of such a rare species, and we can only speculate at its true extent. Some conservative examples of the colossal squid have measured in at around 46 feet in length and weigh up to at least 1,100 pounds, while others reported sightings have been almost 5 times that size. The mysterious creature may be the largest to have ever existed, but its secrets can only be discovered in the deepest parts of the ocean. Number 6. Fin whale. Alright, while we've had some close runners-up, we certainly can't talk about the blue whale, the largest species on Earth, without talking about its closest contender. As the official second-largest species of whale to have ever lived on this planet, the fin whale is just as incredible as its blue whale relative, easily reaching lengths of at least 85 feet and a weight of over 80 tons. Their incredible size is only possible because of their aquatic lifestyle and the vital buoyancy provided by seawater. In fact, it's hard to ever imagine a creature such as the fin whale or its blue whale relative to have ever existed on land, as they would have almost certainly been crushed under their own weight. Their heart alone can weigh over 180 kilograms, roughly the size of a small piano. The fin whale's call is also among the loudest of all animal sounds, reaching up to 188 decibels, louder than a jet engine. These low-frequency vocalizations can travel thousands of miles underwater. Researchers often use hydrophones to track their movements and identify migratory patterns. Fin whales have even been observed engaging in coordinated group feeding, showing a level of social behavior not often associated with baleen whales. Though they're incredibly enormous, thankfully for us, the fin whale is not predatory. Like the blue whale, they are species of baleen whale, creatures who utilize incredibly ingenious plates in their jaws to filter feed for tiny krill and other small plankton. On top of that, their gigantic accordion-like throats help them gulp down nearly 1.9 tons of food per day. Talk about an appetite, capable of up to 23 miles per hour, making them the fastest of all the great whales. The fin whale undergoes incredible migration patterns across the four corners of the planet. Incredibly, these astonishing creatures can live as long as 150 years, and although they're often forgotten as second best to their blue whale relatives, the fin whale is a wonder to behold. Number 5. Portuguese Man of War. Alright, on the subject of gigantic squid-like monsters, while the lion's mane jellyfish was weird, few of them are as unique as the Portuguese Man of War. In fact, this entry is kind of difficult to determine because this bizarre sea monster technically isn't just one species but three. You see, while it looks like a jellyfish, this gigantic floating mass of tentacles is far from it. Technically speaking, the Portuguese Man of War is known as a marine hydrozoan, a colonial organism made up of many different specialized members of the same species attached together through a delicate symbiotic relationship. Each of these creatures works together to function as an individual animal. Its gas-filled bladder, known as a pneumatophore, acts as a sail that allows it to drift across the ocean's surface, carried by winds and currents. But don't be fooled by its graceful appearance. Those tentacles are equipped with venomous nematocysts that can deliver a powerful sting. A single touch can cause excruciating pain, welts, and in extreme cases, even heart or respiratory complications. Swimmers are often caught off guard because the tentacles can trail more than 100 feet behind the body. Even detached tentacles can still sting. The man of war usually preys on small fish and plankton, using its tentacles to paralyze and reel them in. Despite its deadliness, several predators, like the blanket octopus and loggerhead turtle, have evolved resistance to its venom. Some fish even live within its tentacles, immune to its sting, using the creature for protection. Although few recorded sightings have been verified, there have been reported samples of this creature with tentacles that measure as long as 165 feet, making it one of the largest squid-like creatures ever found in our planet's oceans. Number 4. Basking Shark. As the second largest shark on Earth after the previously mentioned whale shark, basking sharks are typically noted for being one of the oldest species of shark on the planet. In fact, these guys are so ancient that there are some experts that speculate whether they're direct descendants of the enormous Megalodon of prehistoric times. That's one heck of a reputation to live up to. In general, the average basking shark can grow to lengths of over 40 feet, with the largest of their species reportedly growing up to 60 feet in total. Their mouths alone can span over 3 feet wide, which they keep open as they swim to filter plankton from the water. Unlike most sharks, basking sharks lack sharp teeth for hunting, instead relying on their gill rakers to sieve their microscopic meals. They often migrate thousands of miles between feeding grounds, sometimes even appearing in unexpected regions like the Mediterranean. During summer, they are more frequently spotted near the surface, slowly gliding with their dorsal fins slicing the water. Their sheer size and slow movement make them look eerily similar to sea monsters from old sailor tales. Despite their size, very little is known about their breeding habits, making them one of the most mysterious giants of the sea. Thankfully for us, like whale sharks, basking sharks are considered to be some of the more docile and gentle marine creatures on Earth, unless you're plankton, in which case you're going to get gobbled up. Despite being harmless to humans, basking sharks have often been the cause of some pretty close calls in the open ocean. You see, while being gentle, basking sharks are often mistaken for great white sharks, leading many swimmers and divers to approach them only to be attacked by the ravenous, toothy predator. Yeah, these gentle giants are so huge that they're often mistaken for one of the more terrifying marine monsters on the planet. Number 3. Giant manta rays. While many of these giant sea creatures on today's list come from the farthest flung corners of the seven seas, few of them can compare to the astonishing migratory range of the giant manta ray. While the stingray is perhaps the most recognizable member of this species, when it comes to sheer size, the manta ray is unrivaled. From the tip of each wing, the giant oceanic manta ray measures in at an astonishing 22 feet long, with the body of the ray easily growing to a size of up to 15 feet in total. Endemic to pretty much any climate on the planet, the giant manta ray is a circumglobal species that's primarily found in the deepest depths of the ocean, making them an incredibly rare sight for anyone other than marine biologists. Despite their size, manta rays feed primarily on microscopic plankton, using their massive mouths to funnel in clouds of tiny organisms. When feeding, they perform acrobatic somersaults in the water, a mesmerizing sight that few ever witness. Their brains are the largest among all fish, allowing them to demonstrate impressive memory and problem-solving skills. Some even recognize individual divers and return to them during migrations. These gentle giants often travel thousands of miles in search of food, crossing entire oceans with ease. Sadly, their populations are under threat from fishing and entanglement in nets. Conservationists are now tagging and tracking individuals to better understand their habits and preserve their habitats. Amazingly, certain individuals have been believed to have lived for at least 50 years, making the giant manta ray one of the longest-lived species of ray on Earth. As one of the most awe-inspiring aquatic creatures in our oceans, these truly extraordinary creatures roam the globe like silent, gliding giants, exploring the deepest depths of the murky blue. Amazing. Number 2. Lion's mane jellyfish. Alright, if you've got a fear of tentacles, then you should probably look away. The lion's mane jellyfish is one of the eeriest creatures on Earth, and given the fact that this creature has been recently found close to the shore, you may think twice about the next time you decide to take a paddle at the beach. With tentacles that grow to over 120 feet long, some recorded individual species have actually rivaled the incredible size of the blue whale, the previously mentioned largest animal on the planet. Mainly found in the deep, cold waters of the Antarctic and northern Pacific Ocean, this gigantic creature gets its name from the long, hair-like tentacles that hang from the underside of its bell-shaped body, vaguely reminiscent of a lion's mane. Despite their size, they are notoriously difficult to study due to how fragile and gelatinous their bodies are, often falling apart when brought to the surface. Divers and swimmers who encounter them often describe the experience as running into a floating net of stinging wires. In fact, a single brush from a few of these tentacles can leave welts and burning pain that lasts for hours. Strangely enough, some sea turtles and ocean sunfish are immune to their sting and feed on them regularly. Occasionally, ocean currents wash these giants into shallow waters, creating panic among beachgoers. In 2010, fragments of one massive lion's mane jellyfish stung nearly 150 people at a single beach in New Hampshire. These creatures are truly nature's elegant nightmares, gliding silently just below the surface. Incredibly, these gigantic tentacles are divided into 8 distinctive clusters, with each of which containing up to 150 individual tentacles. These long, probing appendages are equipped with clusters of neurotoxic poison that stun their prey when they're enveloped. However, there's no need to worry for us humans, as the lion's mane jellyfish mainly uses its powerful sting to catch small fish and tiny crustaceans that make up its diet. Number 1. Japanese spider crab. Alright, we've seen some pretty monstrous ocean creatures so far, but surprisingly, it's not just gigantic marine mammals and enormous fish that top the list. Yeah, feast your eyes on this truly gigantic crab with a leg span of over 13 feet and an average weight of around 40 pounds. The Japanese spider crab is undoubtedly the largest species of crab on the planet, beating virtually every other member of its species by a country mile. They typically dwell at depths between 500 and 1,000 feet, where the pressure is immense and sunlight is scarce. Despite their terrifying appearance, these crabs are scavengers, feeding primarily on dead animals and decaying organic material. Their long, spindly legs make them surprisingly agile across the rocky seafloor. Interestingly, they are also known to camouflage themselves with sponges and other sea debris to avoid predators. Juvenile spider crabs even carry these disguises on their backs like armor. And though they look ancient and alien, they molt like other crustaceans, shedding their hard exoskeleton as they grow. That molting process can take hours and leaves them vulnerable to attack. If a gigantic armored spider isn't already terrifying enough, this monster is also considered to be the longest living crab in recorded history, with an average lifespan of around 100 years old. In fact, in Japanese folklore, this gigantic spider crab has earned itself the nickname Dead Man's Crab, owing to the fact that these immortal aquatic arachnids have a habit of surviving against impossible odds. The truth is, this nickname is derived from a certain tale in Japanese folklore which describes the gigantic spider crab as a monster lurking in the kelp, waiting for a sailor or diver to curiously come along. When it pounces, it drags its victims underwater, where it then feasts on its victim's decaying body. Whatever the case, there's a reason these guys have earned a monstrous reputation. And there you have it, the 15 most massive sea creatures you've ever laid eyes on. What did you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching all the way to the end. You've been watching Thought Trail. See you next time.